Hello viewers and learners, welcome to Figure Maths with Tirema. Uh, Today we are going to be looking at parallelogram law of vectors. And before we dive in, as usual, we have today that your line goes in the direction of your words. Your life goes in the direction of your words. So you have to be mindful of what you say with your tongue. The Bible says that death and life are in the power of the tongue. So whatever you say is what you get. So your line goes in the direction of your words, whether you are saying godly things or you are saying ungodly things, and whether you are saying positive things or you are saying negative things, your life follows the direction of the same. And that is why it is very important to pay attention to what is coming out of our mouths. All right, it matters what you say. As a student, don't even though you are called a failure, don't call yourself a failure. Call yourself a success, and keep calling yourself a success. And as time goes on, you are going to discover that you will conform to the same. Of course, you're going to conform to the same, and of course, you're going to take a corresponding action that will bring your confession into reality. All right. So today, let's look at parallelogram law of vectors. When you talk about parallelogram law of vectors is one of the methods that you use to solve um, questions related to vector. When you talk about vector is a quantity that has both magnitude and direction, unlike scalar quantity. Okay, so that means you are looking at the size of the vector and you're also considering the direction of the vector, right? So if you look at what we have, if you look at what we have, these are two vectors. Okay, there are different ways by which you can solve vectors depending on how they started out. So sometimes you can have vectors that start from the same origin like this, and sometimes you can have vectors that don't start from the same origin. But if you are going to apply parallelogram law of vectors, you're going to use it to solve questions, two vectors that start from the same origin, from common origin. And what does it state? It states that um, two vectors represented in magnitude and direction by the adjacent sides of a parallelogram. How can this be taught to parallelogram? So what you just need to do is extend it. What you just need to do is to give an extension, is to draw an extension like this to complete it. So you have parallelogram law of vectors. It says that when two um, sides of a parallelogram are represented in magnitude and direction, when two vectors represent two adjacent sides of a parallelogram in magnitude and direction, then the diagonal of the parallelogram drawn from the common points. This is the common point, this is the common origin. Drawn from the common origin represents the resultant of the vector. Okay, so this represents the resultant of the vector. Okay, so meaning that the angle that was given here has been stated. All right, so now what will happen is that if you are going to, of course, whatever you are giving here is what will also be here because of parallel lines. All right, and likewise here you have 580. So now, if I'm going to solve this, I will need it to, I will need to extract a triangle out of this to solve this question. And to extract triangle, since this is 60 degree, okay, it means, so if I decide to extend this line, okay, so whatever angle I have here will also be the same thing I would have here. Why? Corresponding angles are equal. You were taught that one in your primary one class, okay? So corresponding angles are equal. So meaning that this angle now I can determine it using sum of angles on the straight line. So sum of angle of the straight line make this to become 120, 120 degree. So sum of angle of the straight line is 180 degree. So this will become 120 degree. So with that, I can easily solve this. I can easily solve this. With that, I can easily solve the resultants. Okay, so this is 120 degree. Okay, so if I want to solve this, when you have a side of a triangle, that has an angle opposite to it. Meanwhile, the other two sides, the angles are unknown. Alright, what you use is what we call cosine rule in mathematics, and it states that, let's say if this is C and this is A and this is B, that means C square is equals to A square plus B square minus 2AB cos C. Okay, so our C now is our R. So we have R squared is equals to 12 square plus 5 square minus 2 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 5 cos 120 degree. Okay, so R square equals 144 plus 25 minus, if you multiply all this, you will get, this is 24, this is 60, that's 120. Then cos 120 degree. Cos 120 degree is the same thing as the value of cos 60. So, but because it will fall it will fall within the second quadrant of trigonometric quadrants. So it becomes negative. So this will be uh, minus 0.5. All right. This is minus 0.5. So you have now you have to be very careful when you are doing this addition and subtraction, when you are doing this arithmetic. You don't add this and subtract 120 from it. It has to be, you have to solve it separately. So this is 169 minus multiplied by minus, that's plus. So 120 multiplied by half, that's 60. Okay, so you have your R square. So R square is equals to, you add these together and this will give you 9, then 2, 2. Okay, so when you arrive at this junction, you find the square root of both sides. So that square root will cancel square, which implies that R is equals to, now you calculate the square root of 229. Alright, so when you calculate it on your calculator, you're going to have 15.13. 15.13 Newton. So now this is the magnitude, but then you need to find the direction. If you're going to find the direction, uh, you're going to this is the direction to the horizontal, the angle the uh, resultant make with the so let's say the angle that the resultant makes with the horizontal is theta. Okay, so if you want to find that, you will need to use sine rule. When do you use sine rule? You use sine rule a when a side of the triangle together with its angle is known. Meanwhile, you want to find uh, another side of the triangle whose angle is not known or its side is not known, either of the two. Okay, so in that case, you use sine. All right, so you use sine. So I'm going to rub this off now, but take notes. The magnitude of R is 15.13 Newton. All right, so let's just split this into two. So using sine rule, why are we using sine rule? You have a side that is unknown before, but it's now known. So that means The side and the angle is already known. But then you have another side of the triangle that is known, but its angle is not known. So you can easily use sine A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. Right? So we just stick to this. So B is 5 over divided by sine theta equals 15.13 divided by sine 120. 120. All right, cross multiply 15.13. 15.13 sine theta equals 5 sine 120 degree. So sine theta equals 5 multiplied by sine 120 is 0.8660 divided by 15.13. Okay, we divide both sides by the coefficient of sine theta, which is 15.13. So sine theta will be 5 multiplied by the value of sine 120 divided by 15.13. So from here, we have sine theta equals, if you do the multiplication and division correctly, you have 0.2682. Right? So theta will be sine inverse arcsine 0.2682. Okay? So 2682, which will give us 16. So theta will be equals 16.63. Do this in calculator and you're going to get 16.63. So with theta equals 16.63 degree. Right? So to find the actual direction, what you need to do is, let's assume this is our quadrant, and these are 4 cardinal points, and this place is north, this is south, this is west, and this is east. So to find the angle inclined from north up to, so to find the angle inclined, from north up to where the resultant pick out from north to the east, the total angle is 90 degrees. So if you are going to find the angle between from the north to where the resultant take out from, where the resultant took up from or take off from. So you are going to have this angle. So if this place is 16.63, then to determine the angle from the north to the resultant line, it will be we're going to subtract 16.63 from 90 degree, so that you can now have so that it will be, let's call that angle alpha. So alpha will be 90 minus 16.63. Okay, subtract 16.63 from 90. So if you subtract 16.63 from 90, you're going to get 73.37. 73.37, meaning that R now equals 15.13 Newton, then the direction will be north, 73.37 degree east. So meaning that it's moving towards the east. So and this will be your final answer. Alright. So I believe you understand. So uh, till I come your way again. That is parallelogram law that has been explained. And don't forget, your life goes in the direction of your words. And if you also need a more comprehensive and intensive online class, you can always reach out to us on the link that is attached to the video. Bye.